Akbar's disguise. Akbar the Great was a kind and just a ruler. He did everything he could to ensure that his people were treated well and that the policies he had introduced were being followed. He discovered that whenever he went out to walk around in a city, the people would run and hide. They would fall to the ground or act like they were very good. Akbar knew that this was not how they would normally behave, so he would often disguise himself and walk around to find out exactly how things were in his kingdom. This helped him a lot, but there was always a possibility that he might meet some danger since he was in disguise. One day, just as Akbar was putting on his disguise, Beetball walked in. Beetball smiled at Akbar and said, "Your Majesty, this is a great idea, but I have warned you before and I am warning you again. This could be dangerous for you. Please be very careful." Akbar laughed loudly and said, "You worry too much. What kind of danger will I encounter? Strong enough to defend myself against any robbers. I even carry a knife to protect me. Nothing can happen to me. Don't worry." He kept laughing as he put on his disguise and left the palace without anyone seeing him. Beetball walked through the town watching his people go through their daily lives. He met people, talked to them, and even asked them what they thought about living in this kingdom. He was surprised when one person said Akbar is a good king, but I am not sure he is great. The evening, Akbar had finished his walk, and on his way back to the palace, suddenly he saw a shadow figure behind him. He said to himself, "I think I am being followed." He started to walking quickly. The person who was following him began walking faster as well. Akbar became worried and his hands automatically went to his knife. To make sure that he was being followed, he took a few steps and then he stopped. The person who was following him did the same. Akbar became angry and decided to surprise the person. He suddenly turned around and ran towards the person who was following him. To his surprise, he found a very simple looking man dressed in a simple coat and a beard. The man did not look like a criminal. Akbar was surprised, but he was still angry. He shouted, "I know that you are following me. Who are you and why are you following me?" Instead of protesting, the man smiled and said, "I am following you because I like following you. Am I doing something wrong?" Akbar became even more angry. He said, "What is your name?" The man did not seem to be afraid at all. He smiled and said, "My name is No Name." Akbar was furious. He shouted, "Where do you live? What do you do?" The man quickly replied, "I live nowhere. I do nothing." Akbar did not like being treated like this. He said, "Do you know who I am?" The man smiled and said, "You are a human being, right?" He stretched out his hand and said, "I am the king. Look at the royal ring on my finger. Now bow before me and beg for forgiveness." The man did not seem to be impressed. He said to Akbar, "Is that the ring original? Let me see it." Without hesitating, Akbar took off the royal ring and gave it to the man. The man laughed, put the ring in his pocket and began to run away. Akbar was shocked. He shouted, "Come back here. I will have you hanged. Give me back my ring." The man continued to run away. Akbar looked around and saw a few people walking nearby. He looked at them and shouted, "Help me, that man is a thief, and catch him." Two strong men ran towards the thief and caught him. Instead of looking guilty, the thief shouted, "You fools, I am not a thief. I am your king. Look at this royal ring. You will realize that you are talking to the Akbar the Great." When the people saw the royal ring, they fell back and asked for forgiveness. Akbar saw what was happening and knew that there was nothing he could do, so he quickly ran towards the palace. He removed his disguise and entered the palace. After he had dressed up in his royal clothes, he said to himself, "I have got to tell my gods about his wicked thief and command them to catch him. But if Beetball finds about this, he will laugh at me. What shall I do?" Akbar walked into the courtyard. To his surprise, he found a small box lying on his throne. He picked up the box and opened it. Akbar was shocked to find his royal ring inside the box. He shouted that the foolish thief decided to return my ring. He must have been afraid to make Akbar the Great angry. When he took the ring out, he found a small note placed under the ring. Once again, Akbar said, "Even written me an apology note. What an idiot." He took out the note and read it. He was surprised to find that note was not an apology. It says, "Dear King, didn't I tell you that something could happen to you when you were out in your disguise? I hope you have learned that a knife will not always help you defend yourself. This time you lost your royal ring. Next time you might lose your life. Please take your guards with the next time." Akbar burst out laughing and loudly said, "Birbal, you wicked man. So it was you in disguise. I should have known that you would have followed me to teach me a lesson. Thank you, I learned my lesson." From that day onwards, the king would always walk through the city with his guard near his side. Okay guys, thanks for watching.